Camilla's hand trembled as she held the platinum wedding band between her fingers. The weight of it felt like holding a grenade with the pin pulled. Behind her, Marcello Santoro's voice cut through the marble hallway of his penthouse like a blade through silk. "What did you just say?" She turned slowly, the ring catching the chandelier light above. His steel-grey eyes were locked on the jewelry in her palm, then traveled up to meet hers. For the first time since she'd started working in his Chicago mansion 3 months ago, she saw something flicker across the face of the most feared Mafia boss in Illinois. Recognition. Terror flooded her veins. He couldn't know. He couldn't possibly remember that night 5 years ago. The night she'd served champagne at his engagement party. The night his fiancée had humiliated her in front of everyone. The night he'd defended a nobody maid and slipped his own ring onto her finger as an apology, before his bride-to-be dragged him away. The same ring she was holding right now. "Sir," she whispered again, her voice barely audible. "You forgot your ring." His jaw tightened. One word escaped his lips, heavy with disbelief and something darker. "You." If you want to discover how Camilla and Marcello's story began and what happens after this moment of recognition, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Every view helps bring more stories like this one to life. 3 months earlier, Camilla had stood outside the Santoro estate with her heart hammering against her ribs and a forged reference letter clutched in her sweating palm. She needed this job, desperately. Her daughter Aria's medical bills were drowning her. The eviction notice was already taped to her apartment door, and the staffing agency had made it clear. This was her last chance. "Next," barked the head housekeeper, a severe woman named Mrs. Chen, who looked like she'd never smiled in her 60-some years of life. Camilla smoothed down her thrift store blazer and stepped forward. The interview took place in a service entrance, not even inside the actual mansion. Through the doorway, she caught glimpses of marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and artwork that probably cost more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes. Experience? Mrs. Chen didn't look up from her clipboard. 5 years at the Waldorf, 2 years private residences. The lie tasted like ash. In reality, she'd cleaned office buildings at night and served tables during the day, but the agency had helped her craft a believable story. "You understand this is a live-in position. 6 days a week, 12-hour shifts. Mr. Santoro requires absolute discretion, impeccable service, and complete loyalty." "I understand. The pay is $2,500 weekly, plus room and board." Camilla's breath caught. That was more than she made in a month at her 3 jobs combined. It was enough to catch up on Aria's treatment, to keep their apartment, to finally stop drowning. That had been 12 weeks ago. Camilla had learned quickly that Marcello Santoro wasn't just wealthy. He was dangerous. The kind of man whose name made hardened criminals look over their shoulders. The kind of man who conducted business meetings in Italian that ended with people leaving in body bags. The kind of man who wore $15,000 suits and had eyes that could freeze hell itself. She'd also learned to be invisible, to clean his study while he worked, to serve his morning espresso without being asked, to disappear into the woodwork whenever his associates visited. The other staff had warned her, never speak unless spoken to, never make eye contact, never ask questions about the blood she might find on his shirt cuffs. But Camilla had one advantage none of them knew about. She'd met Marcello Santoro before, and if he ever remembered that night, everything she'd built would come crashing down. It was a Tuesday morning when her carefully constructed world started to fracture. She was polishing the marble floors of the East Wing when raised voices echoed from Marcello's office. "You're making a mistake, boss." The voice belonged to Luca, Marcello's second-in-command. "We respond with strategy." Marcello's voice was ice. "Force without intelligence is just violence." The door opened abruptly. Camilla's head snapped down, her hand moving rhythmically across the marble as if she'd heard nothing. She could feel Luca's gaze on her as he passed. Then silence. She risked a glance toward the office. Marcello stood in the doorway watching her. He'd removed his suit jacket. His white shirt rolled to the elbows, revealing forearms marked with scars, and one distinctive tattoo, a Roman numeral theme on his left wrist. "How long have you been working here?" His question caught her off guard. 3 months, sir." She kept her eyes on the floor. "Look at me when I'm speaking to you." Her heart stuttered. Slowly she raised her eyes. His face was all sharp angles and controlled power, handsome in a way that felt almost dangerous. At 42, He had the presence of someone who'd built an empire on blood and strategy. "What's your name?" "Camilla, sir." He studied her for a long moment. "You're different from the others. You don't gossip. You don't ask for favors. You do your work and disappear. Why? Because I'm hiding from you," she thought. "Because 5 years ago your fiancée threw champagne in my face and called me trash and you stopped her. Because you gave me your ring as an apology and I've kept it hidden ever since, a secret I can never tell." "I just need the job, sir," she said instead. Something flickered in his eyes. Curiosity, perhaps. Before he could respond, his phone rang. He answered it in rapid Italian, his expression darkening with each word. When he hung up, the momentary softness was gone. "I'm hosting a dinner party Friday night. 12 guests. Tell Mrs. Chen to prepare the formal dining room. You'll be serving." Her stomach dropped. "Sir, I'm not trained for—" "You start learning tonight. Don't disappoint me." Friday arrived too quickly. The mansion transformed into something from a movie. Flowers imported from Italy, a string quartet setting up in the corner, crystal and silver polished to blinding perfection. Camilla wore the formal server uniform, black dress, white apron, her hair pulled back into a severe bun. The evening progressed in a blur of pouring wine, clearing plates, and staying invisible. Camilla was good at invisible, until the moment everything changed. She was refilling a guest's wine glass when she heard it, Italian flowing from the other end of the table. One of the men, a silver-haired associate named Giancarlo, was telling a story about Sicily. Camilla's hand froze. She understood every word. Her mother had been Italian, had taught her the language before cancer took her when Camilla was 16. "Impossibile," Giancarlo laughed. "The old man actually thought he could negotiate with the Corleone family." "Stupido," Camilla murmured under her breath. The word slipped out before she could stop it. The table went silent. Every eye turned to her. Marcello's gaze was sharp as broken glass. "What did you say?" His voice was dangerously quiet. Camilla's throat closed. "Nothing, sir. My apologies. You understood him. It wasn't a question." My mother was Italian, sir." Marcello leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "Say something in Italian." Her mind went blank. Then, from somewhere deep in memory, words surfaced. "Mi dispiace profondamente se ho causato qualche disturbo." "I am deeply sorry if I have caused any disturbance." The silence stretched. Then Giancarlo laughed, a booming sound that broke the tension. "Marcello, where did you find this one? She speaks better Italian than my own daughter." But Marcello wasn't laughing. He was staring at Camilla with an intensity that made her skin prickle, as if he was seeing her, really seeing her, for the first time. "Leave us," he said quietly to the other staff. "Camilla stays." When the guests finally left near midnight, she began clearing the table with trembling hands. "Stop!" She froze, a stack of plates in her hands. Marcello approached slowly. He stood close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and dark, cedar and bergamot. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. "Why didn't you tell me you spoke Italian?" "It wasn't relevant, sir." "Everything is relevant." His eyes searched her face. "You're full of surprises, Camilla." He reached out, and for one heart-stopping moment, she thought he might touch her. Instead, he picked up an empty wine glass from the tray she held. "My mother taught me Italian," she found herself saying, "before she died." "And your father?" "Never knew him." Something shifted in his expression. Understanding, perhaps. "I lost my mother young too, cancer. Mine as well." The moment stretched between them, fragile and unexpected. Two people from impossibly different worlds, connected by the thinnest thread of shared loss. Then his phone rang, shattering the intimacy. When he hung up, the walls were back up. "Get some rest. Good work tonight." He walked away, leaving Camilla standing alone in the dining room with her heart pounding and her carefully maintained distance crumbling around her. She didn't know it yet, but Marcello Santoro had just started to remember where he'd seen her before. Cliffhanger. And when he finally did, everything would change. The recognition came 3 days later, in the worst possible way. Camilla was in Marcello's private study, dusting the bookshelves while he worked at his massive mahogany desk. It was early morning, barely 6 a.m. She was reaching for a leather-bound book when something fell from between its pages. A photograph, yellowed with age. The photo showed a younger Marcello, maybe 37, standing beside a stunning blonde woman in a designer gown. His engagement party. And there, barely visible in the background, was a young black woman in a server's uniform. "Where did you find that?" His voice made her jump. The photograph slipped from her fingers, floating to the floor between them. Marcello stood from his desk, his eyes locked on the image. He picked it up slowly, studying it. Then his gaze lifted to her face, and she watched the pieces click into place behind his eyes. "The engagement party," he said softly. "5 years ago. The Four Seasons. My fiancé threw a glass of champagne at a server, called her unspeakable things. I stopped the party, defended the girl." His eyes narrowed. "Gave her my ring as an apology because I had nothing else to offer in that moment." Camilla couldn't breathe, couldn't move. "It was you. Not a question. A revelation. You kept it. The ring." "Yes." The whisper barely escaped her throat. "Why?" "Because it was the first time anyone had ever defended me," she thought. "Because it was valuable," she lied. "I was going to sell it, but I never—" "Don't." His voice cut like steel. "Don't lie to me, Camilla. Everyone lies to me. Don't be everyone." The vulnerability in those words shocked her. She met his gaze fully. "It was the first time in my life someone stood up for me. You didn't know me. You owed me nothing. But you stopped everything to defend a nobody Maid. I kept the ring because I wanted to remember that moment, that someone cared even if just for a second." Silence fell between them, heavy with truth. "What happened to the fiancé?" she asked. "I called off the engagement the next day." His expression darkened. "Anyone who could treat another human being that way wasn't someone I could trust with my name or my future." Camilla's eyes widened. "You ended your engagement because of what she did to me." "I ended it because she showed me who she truly was." He took a step closer. "I've thought about that night many times over the years, wondered what happened to the girl with kind eyes who didn't deserve any of what was done to her. I'm still just a maid, Mr. Santoro." "Marcello." His correction was firm. "And you're not just anything, Camilla." Before she could respond, the study door burst open. Luca stood in the doorway, his expression urgent. "Boss, we have a problem. The Volkov family just hit one of our shipments. 3 men dead." The warmth in Marcello's eyes evaporated instantly. "Where?" "South Side Warehouse. They left a message. It's personal." Marcello's jaw tightened. "Give me 5 minutes." When Luca left, Marcello turned back to Camilla. The contrast between the man who'd just been speaking to her and the dangerous Mafia boss now standing before her was jarring. "Go to your room. Lock the door. Don't leave until I tell you it's safe." "What's happening?" "War." He moved to his desk, pulling a gun from the drawer. "The Volkov family has been pushing into my territory for months. This is their declaration that negotiation is over. Are you in danger?" He looked at her, surprised. "Why do you care?" "Because I—" She stopped, uncertain. "Stay safe, Camilla." His voice softened. "Please." Then he was gone. Hours passed. She tried to work, but concentration was impossible. It was near sunset when she found herself in the West Wing, checking windows. She was testing a latch when she saw them. 3 men approaching through the garden, moving with predatory stealth. Volkov family. They'd come to the mansion itself. Panic seized her. The hallways were empty. The staff must have been sent home. She was alone. The sound of breaking glass echoed from below. They were inside. Camilla ducked into the nearest room, Marcello's private bedroom. Her hands shook as she locked the door, then slipped into the walk-in closet, pressing herself against the back wall between expensive suits. Through the crack in the door, she could see shadows moving. Check everywhere. The boss wants anything that can hurt Santoro. Check the closet. Her heart stopped. The closet door started to open. A gunshot exploded through the mansion, shouts, running footsteps. The men cursed and ran toward the noise. More gunshots, closer now. Then silence. "Camilla!" Marcello's voice raw with urgency. "Camilla!" She stumbled out, unlocked the bedroom door. He was in the hallway, gun still in hand, his white shirt splattered with blood. The moment he saw her, something cracked in his controlled expression. He closed the distance in 3 strides and pulled her against his chest, one arm wrapping around her, while the other still held the gun. "Are you hurt?" His voice was rough against her hair. "No, I'm okay." "When Luca told me they'd gone to the mansion, that you were here alone," his voice broke slightly. "I've never driven so fast in my life. You came back for me." "Of course I came back for you." His intensity pinned her in place. "Do you understand, Camilla? You could have died tonight because of me. But I didn't. You saved me." This time. But there will be other times. Other threats. This is my life. Anyone close to me becomes a target. She saw what he was doing, pushing her away to protect her. What if I don't want to be protected from you? The words escaped before she could stop them. His eyes darkened. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. She placed her hand over his heart. I know you're dangerous, but I also know that you're the only person who's ever made me feel like I matter. Camilla, when your fiancé called me trash, I believed her. I'd believed it my whole life. Her voice shook. Then you stepped in. You defended me. You gave me something precious just to show me I had value. Do you have any idea what that meant? His thumb traced her cheekbone. You've always had value. The world just made you forget. Then don't make me forget again. Don't push me away because you're scared. I'm not scared of anything. But his voice lacked conviction. You're terrified, she whispered. Not of them. Of this. Of feeling something for someone who doesn't fit in your world. If I let myself care about you, he said roughly, I'll never be able to let you go. I'm not a man who shares. I'm not a man who does anything halfway. Then don't. She rose on her toes. If you become mine, I become yours. His control shattered. He kissed her like a man drowning and she was air, his mouth claiming hers with desperate hunger. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcello rested his forehead against hers. You're going to destroy me, he murmured. Good, she breathed back, because you've already destroyed me. A sound from downstairs forced them apart. Reality crashed back. I need to handle this, Marcello said reluctantly. But after we talk, really talk. He started to walk away, then turned back. Camilla, that ring, do you still have it? Hidden in my room. Something fierce crossed his face. Good. Keep it hidden. Keep it safe. Because when this is over, when the Volkov family is dealt with, I'm going to put it back on your finger properly. And this time, you'll never take it off. Cliffhanger. He left her standing in the hallway, her heart racing and her world completely transformed, with no idea that hidden in his study was a photograph that would reveal a secret capable of destroying everything they'd just found. The photograph fell into Camilla's hands by accident, 2 weeks after Marcello's promise. She'd been cleaning his study when a drawer left open caught her attention. A photograph lay inside. Marcello at a charity gala 6 years ago. And beside him in the photo, holding a newborn baby, was her sister Natasha. The study spun. She gripped the desk as the truth crashed through her. The baby was Aria, her daughter, the pregnancy she'd hidden, the baby she'd given birth to while working 3 jobs, the daughter she'd left with Natasha, until somehow the lie had become truth and everyone believed Aria was her niece, not her daughter. But why was Natasha in a photograph with Marcello Santoro? That was taken at a charity gala. Marcello's voice from the doorway made her spin around. Your sister was there as someone's date. We spoke briefly. Nothing memorable. His gaze lifted to her face. Why do you look like you've seen a ghost? That's my sister. The words barely escaped. I gathered. He took the photo. And the baby. This was the moment. Truth or lies? Aria, she whispered. My daughter. Silence filled the study like poison. Marcello's entire body went rigid. Your daughter. His voice was dangerously soft. Not your niece, your daughter. I had her when I was 22. I was alone, broke, terrified. Tears streamed down her face. Natasha helped me. Eventually it became easier to tell people Aria was hers. I see her every Sunday. She knows I'm her mother. But publicly, you lied. He set the photograph down with deliberate care. For 3 months you've worked in my home, you've kissed me, you've let me make promises, and you never mentioned you have a daughter. I was afraid. I needed this job. I needed the money for her medical treatment. She has a heart condition. Her voice broke. Marcello turned away, hands braced on the desk. What else haven't you told me? Nothing, I swear. Just your daughter. He laughed bitterly. Do you understand what you've done? In my world, secrets are weapons. Enemies could use her against you, against me. From you? The question escaped before she could stop it. He spun around, eyes blazing. From everyone. By keeping her secret, you've made it impossible for me to protect her. If the Volkovs find out about Aria, if they discover she's your daughter, the sound of screeching tires outside cut him off. Marcello moved fast, pulling his gun and positioning himself between Camilla and the door. Get down! Glass exploded inward. Gunfire erupted. Marcello returned fire with cold precision. "Basement now." He grabbed her arm, pulling her toward a hidden door. "There's a panic room. Code is 0317. What about you?" "I'll handle this. Go." More gunfire. Before she could move, his phone rang. He answered while providing covering fire. "What?" His face went deathly pale. "Say that again." He looked at Camilla with absolute horror. "They have a 6-year-old girl. Black, curly hair, heart-shaped birthmark on her left shoulder." His voice was hollow. "They're asking for you, Camilla. They want you in exchange for the child." The birthmark. Arya had that exact birthmark. "No," Camilla whispered. The Volkov family had her daughter. Marcello lowered the phone, his expression transforming into cold rage. When he spoke, his voice was deadly calm. "How did they get her?" "Sunday afternoon. I visit Natasha's apartment every Sunday. If they followed me, she'd led them right to Arya." Marcello was already barking orders into his phone in rapid Italian. Within seconds, the gunfire stopped. He turned to Camilla. "Where do they have her?" "I don't know." His phone buzzed. A text with an address, an abandoned warehouse on the south side. 1 hour. Come alone or the girl dies. "They want me to trade myself," Camilla said steadily. "I'll do it." "Absolutely not. She's my daughter, Marcello, and I don't care what they want." He gripped her shoulders. "I'm going to get Arya back. Alive, unharmed, and you're staying here where you're safe. You can't save her alone. Then they'll kill me." He said it with finality. "But I'm not letting them have you, and I'm not letting them keep her." "Why?" The question broke from her. "Why would you risk everything for a child you don't even know?" His hands cupped her face. "Because she's yours. Because in 3 months you've become important to me in ways I didn't think were possible. Because when I thought about my future, I started seeing you in it. And if Arya is part of you," his voice roughened, "then she's already part of me too. Marcello, I need to know. Is there a father? Someone I need to account for?" "No. One night, a mistake. He doesn't know about her and never will." Relief flickered across his face. "Then it's just the two of you. It's always been just the two of us." "Not anymore." He kissed her forehead. "I'm going to bring her home, Tesoro. Trust me." Luca appeared. "Boss, we're ready. 20 men, full tactical gear." Marcello gave Camilla final instructions, where to hide, who to trust if something went wrong. At the door, he turned back. "When I bring Arya home, we're done with secrets. All of them. Understood?" "Understood." "And Camilla, after this is over, we're having a serious conversation about the future, about what it means for you to be mine, and for me to be yours, about how we protect what's ours. Together." "Together," she echoed. Then he was gone. Camilla made it to the panic room and did the hardest thing she'd ever done. She waited. After 3 hours that felt like 3 lifetimes, her phone rang. Marcello's number. "Hello? Mommy." A small voice, frightened but alive. "Mommy, there was a scary man, but then Mr. Marcello came and he was really brave. Arya." Camilla collapsed against the wall, sobs tearing from her throat. "Baby, are you okay?" "I'm okay. Just scared. But Mr. Marcello said you sent him." "Mommy, is he a superhero?" Through her tears, Camilla laughed. "Yes, baby, he's a superhero. I want to thank him." Rustling. Then Marcello's voice, rough with exhaustion. "Camilla, is she really okay?" "Completely unharmed. They were smart enough to know that hurting her would guarantee their deaths." His voice darkened. "They were right. And the Volkovs? Dealt with, permanently. It's over. Are you hurt?" "Minor gunshot wound to the shoulder. Nothing serious." "Marcello, I'm bringing Arya to the mansion. She's asking about you. I told her we're going somewhere safe." His voice softened. "She's beautiful, Camilla. She has your eyes. Thank you. Thank you for saving her. You can thank me when we get there. We'll be home soon." Home. He'd called it home. When the panic room door finally opened 40 minutes later, Camilla burst through. Marcello stood there, suit jacket gone, white shirt blood-stained, bandage on his shoulder. But he was alive. And holding his hand was a little girl with dark curly hair and wide brown eyes. "Mummy!" Arya ran to her, and Camilla caught her daughter. Holding her so tightly, Arya squeaked in protest. When she looked up, Marcello was watching them with an expression of tenderness and wonder. Arya pulled back, turning to Marcello with serious 6-year-old solemnity. "Thank you for saving me, Mr. Marcello. You're very brave. He crouched to her level. You're very brave too, Arya. You didn't cry even when you were scared. That takes real courage. Mommy says courage means being scared but doing the right thing anyway. Your mommy is very wise. His eyes flicked to Camilla. And very special. Arya studied him. Are you and mommy friends? I hope so, he said carefully. Is that okay with you? Can you teach me Italian? Mommy speaks it sometimes. Marcello's smile transformed his face. I would be honored. Okay then, we can be friends. Arya yawned. Mommy, I'm tired. Cliffhanger. Camilla met Marcello's eyes over her daughter's head, seeing the question there. The possibility, the dangerous hope, neither dared voice. But as Arya's hand slipped trustingly into Marcello's, Camilla realized something that terrified and thrilled her. Her daughter had just accepted a Mafia boss into their lives, and she was about to do the same. 3 days after Arya's rescue, Camilla woke to find her daughter's bed empty. Panic seized her until she heard voices, one high and musical, one deep and patient. In the conservatory, Marcello sat at the grand piano, Arya perched beside him. He'd abandoned his suits for dark jeans and a black Henley, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. No, Piccola, this finger here. He adjusted Arya's hand gently. See? Now try again. They hadn't noticed her yet. She watched as Marcello showed Arya another sequence, his patience infinite. Mr. Marcello? Arya asked seriously. Why do you have so many guards? Marcello handled it with honesty. Because I have a dangerous job. Sometimes people get angry at me, and the guards help keep me safe. Like superheroes have sidekicks? Exactly like that. Are you a superhero or a bad guy? Marcello was quiet for a moment. I think I'm somewhere in between, Arya. I've done things I'm not proud of, but I'm trying to be better. For your mother. For you. Mommy says everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is trying to be better. Your mother is very wise. She says that's you too. Arya tilted her head. Are you going to marry my mommy? Camilla nearly choked. Marcello glanced toward the doorway, catching her there. His eyes held hers as he answered. Would that be okay with you? Only if you promise to keep teaching me piano and promise to keep mommy safe. She works really hard, and sometimes she cries when she thinks I'm sleeping. I promise. His voice was rough. Both of those things. Okay then. Arya hopped off the bench. I'm hungry. Can we have pancakes? She bounded past Camilla, leaving the adults alone. Marcello moved toward Camilla with predatory grace. How much did you hear? He asked. Enough. She entered the conservatory. You're good with her. She's an easy child to be good with. He touched her face. Camilla, I've already told Mrs. Chen you're no longer staff. You're something else entirely. And what is that? I don't have a word for it yet, but I know I want you in my life properly, you and Arya. She has a heart condition. Surgery scheduled in 6 weeks. Already taken care of. He said it like it was nothing. I've arranged for the best pediatric cardiac surgeon in the country, Dr. Helena Kovacs from Johns Hopkins. She'll perform the surgery here in Chicago, and Arya will have a private suite during recovery. Camilla's eyes filled with tears. I can't accept that. It's not nearly enough. His hands framed her face. Do you understand what you've given me? In 3 months you've reminded me what it feels like to want something beyond power. You've made me think about futures that don't end in blood. And Arya, his voice caught. She looks at me like I'm human, not a monster, just a man. No one's looked at me like that in years. You are human. Flawed and dangerous, but human. I don't deserve you, either of you. That's not your choice to make. She pulled back to meet his eyes. Marcello, if we do this, if we really try, it can't be like your world. You can't control me. I need to be an equal partner, not a possession. I know. I'm not good at equal. I'm good at commanding, controlling, but for you, I'll learn. He took a shaky breath. For both of you, I'll try to be better. I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be honest. And I need to know that if this becomes too dangerous, if your world threatens Arya, you'll let us go. Pain flashed across his face. You're asking me to choose. I'm asking you to put my daughter first, the way I always will. He was silent for a long time. Finally, he nodded. If it ever comes to a choice between my life and hers, I choose hers. Every time. And mine. I'd burn the world down before I let anyone touch you. But I'd also walk away if it was the only way to keep you safe. His voice dropped, even though it would destroy me. She kissed him then, pouring all her fear and hope into it. He responded with controlled hunger. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "There's something else we need to discuss. The ring. I told you I'd put it back on your finger properly. I meant it." Her breath caught. "Marcello, I know it's fast. I know we have complications. But I also know that in 3 months, you've become essential to me. I don't want some casual relationship. I want to marry you. I want to adopt Arya legally. I want to build a life where you're both protected, cherished, safe. That's not a proposal. That's a plan. Because I'm not proposing yet." His smile was slight. "When I propose, it will be perfect. This is just me telling you what I want, what I'm working toward. And if I'm not ready, then I wait." He kissed her forehead. "I'm patient when it matters." The door burst open. Mrs. Chen stood there looking pale. "Mr. Santoro, there's a woman at the gate. She says she's Camilla's sister and she's demanding to see her daughter." Natasha. Of course. 20 minutes later, Camilla faced her sister across a coffee table while Marcello stood by the fireplace and Arya played with blocks in the corner. Natasha looked exhausted, eyes red-rimmed. 3 days, Camilla. 3 days I've been losing my mind. The police said she was kidnapped, that you were involved somehow. Then suddenly the case is closed and I get a call saying she's here. I'm sorry, I wanted to call, but things were complicated." "Complicated?" Natasha's eyes landed on Marcello. "Who the hell is he?" "Marcello Santoro," he answered. "Camilla works for me. When I discovered Arya had been taken by people trying to hurt me, I mobilized my resources to get her back." "What kind of work do you do that involves kidnapping?" "The kind that's dangerous. The kind that means anyone connected to me becomes a potential target." Natasha turned to Camilla. "You're working for a criminal. I'm working for a man who saved my daughter's life when no one else could." Camilla stood her ground. "Yes, he's dangerous, but he's also the reason Arya is alive." "Safe?" Natasha laughed bitterly. "She was kidnapped because of him, and rescued because of him." Camilla moved to Arya. "Natasha, I know you're scared, but Marcello has promised to protect us. He's arranging the best cardiac surgeon." "No," Natasha shook her head. "I'm taking Arya home right now." "Arya is my daughter," Camilla said quietly. "Not yours. I'm grateful for everything, but I make the decisions about her care." "Then make the right decision. Come home. Get away from this man before he destroys you." Marcello spoke then, calm but final. "I understand your concern. As Arya's legal guardian on paper, you have rights. But those rights can be challenged in court, and I have the best lawyers in the country. I'd prefer not to go that route. I'd prefer we work together for Arya's benefit." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm stating facts. Camilla is Arya's biological mother. She has resources now to care for her daughter. Fighting this will only traumatize the child. Or you can accept that circumstances have changed. Maintain your relationship with Arya as her aunt, and trust that I will protect both of them with my life." Natasha looked between them, seeing something that made her deflate. "You're in love with him." Camilla hadn't said it out loud, but hearing her sister say it, she couldn't deny it. "Yes, God help you. Because loving a man like that, it's going to break your heart." "Maybe," Camilla agreed, "but it's my heart to break." Eventually, Natasha left with a promise to visit on weekends, her acceptance reluctant but real. When she was gone, Camilla collapsed on the sofa. Marcello sat beside her, pulling her against his chest. "That was hard," he murmured. "It was necessary." She breathed him in. "Marcello, she's right. This is going to be complicated, painful, maybe impossible. Nothing worth having is easy." His arms tightened. "And you, Camila Rodriguez, are worth every complication, every pain, every impossibility." Cliffhanger. She believed him. But as she sat in his arms, watching Arya play in a mansion that had become their sanctuary, she couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest challenges were still ahead, and that their love would be tested in ways neither could imagine. The day of Arya's surgery arrived with terrifying swiftness. Camilla sat in the pre-op waiting room of Northwestern Memorial Hospital, watching Arya laugh at something the nurse said. Her daughter was braver than she had any right to be. Marcello sat beside her, his hand engulfing hers. He'd barely left their side in the 6 weeks since Natasha's visit. He'd been there for every appointment, every consultation. He'd also been there for piano lessons, bedtime stories, and tea parties, where a Mafia boss wore a paper crown because a 6-year-old demanded it. Somewhere in those 6 weeks, The three of them had become a family. "Mummy," Aria's voice pulled her from her thoughts. "Can Mr. Marcello come with us?" The nurse smiled. "Hospital policy says only parents in pre-op, but—" She glanced at Marcello, clearly recognizing the name. "I suppose we can make an exception." When they reached Aria's bed, the little girl looked up at him with sudden fear. "What if I don't wake up?" Camilla's heart cracked, but Marcello knelt beside the bed, taking Aria's small hand. "Do you trust me, Piccola?" "Yes." "Then believe me when I tell you that you will wake up. And when you do, your mother and I will be right there, I promise." "What if you're wrong?" "I'm never wrong." He said it with such conviction that Aria giggled through her tears. "You're bossy." "I know. It's my best quality." He kissed her forehead. "Be brave, little one. Show them what Rodriguez women are made of." The anesthesiologist arrived. Suddenly it was time. Camilla kissed her daughter's face a dozen times, whispering, "I love you," until her voice broke. Then they were wheeling Aria away. The moment Aria disappeared through the doors, Camilla's knees buckled. Marcello caught her, holding her as sobs tore from her throat. He guided her to a private waiting room and held her while she fell apart. "She's going to be fine," he murmured. "Dr. Kovac is the best. Aria is strong. She's going to be fine. You don't know that." "Yes, I do." He pulled back to look at her. "Because I won't accept any other outcome. Your daughter is going to be fine." His absolute certainty steadied her. "How can you be so sure?" "Because she has you as a mother. That makes her stronger than any army I command." The surgery took 4 hours. 4 hours of Camilla pacing, praying, bargaining with God. Marcello made phone calls in Italian, managing his empire, but his eyes never left her for long. When Dr. Kovac finally emerged, still in scrubs, Camilla couldn't breathe. The surgery was a complete success, the doctor said, and Camilla's knees gave out. Marcello held her up. "We repaired the defect and her heart is already showing improved function. She should make a full recovery." Camilla was crying too hard to speak. They found Aria in the ICU, looking tiny, surrounded by monitors and IV lines, but her eyes were open, and when she saw them, she smiled. "I woke up," she whispered. "Just like you promised." Marcello moved to one side of her bed, Camilla to the other. They each took one of her hands. "You were so brave," Camilla told her through tears. "My chest hurts." "I know, baby, but it's going to get better now." Aria looked at Marcello. "Can we still do piano lessons?" His smile transformed his face. "Every single day." "Good." Her eyes were already drifting closed. "Love you both." Camilla looked at Marcello over their daughter's bed, because somewhere in the past 6 weeks, Aria had become his daughter too, and saw her own emotions reflected in his eyes. "I love you," she said. Not a confession, a statement of fact. "I love you, and I'm terrified, and I don't know how we're going to make this work, but I love you." "I love you too." He said it like a vow. "Both of you. More than I thought I was capable of loving anything." 2 weeks later, Aria was home at the mansion, recovering well. Camilla was watching her daughter play in the garden from Marcello's study window when he came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "I have something for you," he murmured. She turned, eyebrows raised. "Another gift I can't possibly accept." "Better." He pulled a small box from his pocket, and her heart stopped. But when he opened it, it wasn't a diamond ring. It was the platinum band from 5 years ago, the one he'd given her at his engagement party. "I had it resized," he said softly, "and I had an inscription added." He showed her the inside, in elegant script. "You were always mine. I was always yours." "Marcello!" He took her left hand, holding the ring at the tip of her 4th finger but not sliding it on. "Not yet. I'm not proposing. Not officially. Not when you're still recovering from Aria's surgery. Not when we're still figuring out our lives. But I want you to have this, to know that I'm committed. To you, to Aria, to the family we're building. And when you do propose officially," his smile was devastating, "I'll replace this with something worthy of your beauty. But this ring represents something money can't buy. A moment 5 years ago when I defended you, when our story started, even though neither of us knew it yet." Tears streamed down her face. "You're making it very hard not to propose to you instead." "Then don't wait." His eyes gleamed. "Ask me, right now." She laughed through her tears. "Is that how this works? The woman proposes. In my world, I take what I want. But with you, I want you to choose me, actively. I want you to ask because you want this." Camilla took a shaky breath. Marcello Santoro, you're dangerous and possessive, and you've done terrible things. But you're also brave and protective, and you've shown my daughter more kindness than most people have shown me in my entire life. You saved her when no one else could. You saved me before I even knew I needed saving." She took the ring from his hand. "So yes, I want to marry you. Yes, I want to build a life with you. Yes, I choose you. Flaws, danger, complications, and all." She slid the ring onto her own finger. It fit perfectly. Marcello kissed her then, deep and claiming. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "We're going to do this right," he murmured. "Traditional engagement, big wedding, everything proper. And that you're mine," she countered. "Always yours." He pulled back. "There's one more thing. Aria's legal name. I've had my lawyers draw up adoption papers. With Natasha's consent, which I've already secured, I can legally adopt Aria. She'd be Aria Santoro, my daughter, legally and officially. You want to adopt her. I want to be her father in every way." His voice was rough. "I want to protect her, guide her, love her the way a father should, if you'll let me." "She already thinks of you as her father," Camilla whispered. "Then yes? Yes, absolutely yes." A small voice from the doorway made them turn. Aria stood there in her princess pajamas. "Are you guys kissing again?" She wrinkled her nose. "Grown-ups are weird." Marcello crouched to her level. "Aria, how would you feel about me becoming your real dad, legally adopting you so we're a real family?" Aria's eyes went wide. "Really? Really, really?" She launched herself at him, and he caught her carefully. "Does that mean I can call you Daddy?" His voice was thick. "I would love that, Piccola. And can I still have piano lessons? Every single day. And will you still read me bedtime stories? For as long as you want." She studied his face seriously. "Okay then. You can be my daddy. But you have to promise to always protect Mommy and never make her cry." "I promise." He said it like an oath. "On my life." "Good." She yawned. "Can we have ice cream now?" Camilla laughed through her tears. "You just had surgery. The surgeon says frozen treats are good for recovery." Marcello interrupted. "I'll get the ice cream." He carried Aria toward the kitchen, the little girl chattering while the most dangerous man in Chicago listened with infinite patience. Camilla followed, her hand touching the ring on her finger, her heart so full it ached. This was everything she'd never dared to dream of. A man who loved her, a daughter who was thriving, a future that stretched ahead with possibility instead of just survival. The violence hadn't disappeared. Marcello's world was still dangerous, but he'd built a sanctuary in the middle of it, a home where a former maid and her daughter were treasured more than any empire. 2 years later, Camilla stood at the windows of the master bedroom, watching the Chicago skyline glitter. In the garden below, an 8-year-old Aria gave piano lessons to her baby brother Marco, who at 18 months was more interested in banging the keys than playing them. Marcello had been right about one thing. When he proposed officially, 6 months after the surgery, he'd replaced the simple platinum band with a ring that cost more than most people's houses. A flawless 5-carat diamond surrounded by sapphires, but she still wore the original band on her right hand, still treasured it more than any jewel. Lost in thought, Marcello's voice came from the doorway. She turned to find her husband watching her with familiar intensity. Marriage hadn't softened him. He was still dangerous, still commanded an empire with strategic brilliance. But with her and their children, he was gentle, patient, devoted. "Just remembering," she said. "5 years ago I found your ring after that terrible engagement party. I kept it as a reminder that I mattered to someone, even briefly." He crossed the room, pulling her against his chest. "You matter to me every day, every moment. More than my empire, more than my power, more than my own life." "I know." She kissed him. "You show me every day." "Good." His arms tightened. "Because I intend to spend the rest of my life proving it." Below, Aria's laughter rang out as Marco banged enthusiastically on the piano. "We built something good here," Camilla murmured. "Against all odds." "We built something perfect," Marcello corrected. "A family, a home, a future." She thought about the scared girl she'd been, scrubbing floors and dreaming of just enough money to survive. She thought about the moment everything changed, when she'd whispered, "Sir, you forgot your ring," and watched recognition dawn in a dangerous man's eyes. That moment had led to this one, to a life beyond her wildest dreams, to love that had transformed them both. No regrets? Marcello asked softly. Camilla looked at their children, at the home they'd built, at the man who'd proven that even the most dangerous hearts could learn to love completely. Not a single one, she answered. Not ever. And as the sun set over Chicago, the Santoro family gathered for dinner. A Mafia boss, a former maid, and 2 children who represented the impossible made real. The ring that had started it all still sat in a place of honor in Marcello's study, in a glass case beside the photo from his engagement party, a reminder of how far they'd come, a symbol of the moment 2 souls found each other across an impossible divide, and a promise that some love stories, against all odds, really do get their happy ending. This story has reached its conclusion. If it touched your heart in any way, leave your like and share it with someone who also loves emotional stories. New stories arrive soon. Until next time.